In the heart of the Atlantic, the Azores are no stranger to fierce weather. But in January of 1930, the islands were struck by a storm so powerful, so destructive, that it became one of the region's most devastating natural disasters. Yet one few people outside the islands ever heard about. This is the 1930 Great Storm of the Azores. A normal day turning dark. The day began like any other. Fishermen inspected their boats. Families prepared meals. The sea looked uneasy, but nothing unusual for winter in the Azores. But far out over the Atlantic, a deep low-pressure system was rapidly strengthening. The air grew heavier, the sky darker, and winds sharper as the hours passed. By late afternoon, people sensed something was wrong. Animals became restless. Waves grew violent. The Atlantic was preparing to unleash one of its deadliest storms. The storm hits. As night fell, the storm slammed into the islands with terrifying force. On Fial, roofs tore away and shutters flew through the air like blades. Streets flooded instantly as massive waves crashed over seawalls. On Pico, fishermen raced to secure boats, only to watch many of them vanish into the darkness. On São Jorge, the wind was described as a roar that never stopped. Families gathered in stone homes, listening as windows shattered and trees snapped under the pressure. The storm battered the islands with hurricane-level gusts. Waves as high as 10 meters pounded the coastline, destroying harbors and pulling entire structures into the sea. Crops, livestock, and fishing fleets, the lifelines of these islands, were wiped out in just a few hours. Total isolation. By midnight, the Azores were completely cut off from the world. Telegraph lines were down. Roads were buried under mud and rubble. Boats that once connected the islands were destroyed. No one knew how bad things were elsewhere, or if help would ever arrive. Residents survived on candlelight and hope. Village by village, people rescued neighbors from collapsed homes, shared what little food they had, and worked together through the worst night many had ever lived. One survivor later said, "The wind sounded like the sky was tearing open." Aftermath. When morning came, the true scale of the disaster became clear. Entire villages were unrecognizable. Farmland was destroyed. Boats lay splintered along the shore. Many families lost everything: homes, crops, and their means of survival. Though the exact number of lives lost was never fully recorded, the economic and emotional devastation was immense. For months, the island struggled to rebuild, isolated and battling shortages. But perhaps the most surprising part of this story is how little the world ever heard about it. Overshadowed by global crises of the era, the 1930 storm quietly faded from international memory, surviving mostly through local stories passed down across generations. The Great Storm of 1930 stands as one of the Azores' most powerful and overlooked disasters, a reminder of the island's resilience and of the Atlantic's unpredictable fury. If you want more rare disasters and forgotten historical events, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. There are many more stories waiting to be uncovered.